Ooh, a box. Ooh, spacers. No spacer. Spacer. So these are Jazz Performance 20mm spacers, and let me tell you why and how I chose 20mm to go with, and let's see how well they fit and how to install them. And so the way you would measure for a spacer, or the way I've been doing it, is you get to this lip here of the tyre, you know where it sticks out the most, and then get your ruler, or in my case tape measure, look from directly above downwards, and for me it's about 2 centimeters, so that'll be 20mm for me. So yeah, you just use that concept and it'll pull out the tyre a bit more. And the other place that you can do is if you check on Fitment Industries website on their gallery, you know, where they have all everyone's fitments and everything and pictures of it. So you might find a car which has the right fitment, you know, nice and flush. So you look there, you get their wheel specs, compare them to yours, and then do a little bit of maths of how much of an inch is, take away, add half an inch on each side of the tyre if you need to go up or down an inch, and you should get to roughly how much it should be. So this tyre is a 15 by 7 GA tyre with a 195 50. I'll write that on screen, and that's the specs that I'm using, that's the tyre I'm using. So if you want to copy this fitment, a 20mm spacer would do, and you can see what it looks like at the end. And if you want a bit more or a bit less, you can go a bit higher or a bit lower with spacers as well. So as you see, I've taken the wheel off. First thing you want to do is wire brush it, so let's just do that. It's just so to make sure there's a clear mating surface for it. So we've cleaned it up now, so next is to get your spacer, drop it on. As you can see, it should sit really flat, and here there's a tiny bit of movement, so I'm going to take it back off and I'm going to wire brush it again. And as you see, it's nice and clean now, so I'll drop the spacer on like that. There's no movement. Take these little plastic caps off, and so you get your thread locker now, and I'm going to put into each of the old studs just to hold in the nuts. And so the torque spec we need to use for this is a 110 Newton meters. And you just saw how I tightened those without anyone in the car, because no one's around at the moment. Yes, I've used a piece of wood. And that's how it looks at the moment. And compare it to this side, it's an improvement. And the other thing I completely forgot to mention about spacers is, you know, this leftover stud that sticks out of it. So mine sticks out roughly a centimetre or so by the looks of it. So be aware of that, as your wheel will need to have the space for it. Yeah, as you see, my one has like the space for a spacer here, and it's quite a big gap. It's 1 centimetre in, and then as you can see on this side here, here, there's a hole which goes all the way through, which means I can run a spacer which is maybe 17mm. If you have this issue, you might have to run a wider spacer, or cut your the studs that are on the hub, these ones. This web, by the way, is because it's spider season in the UK, and it wasn't here 2 days ago. And the other thing to be aware of is the hub bore size, which is, you know, this lip here. It needs to be the same size or smaller than the one that's on the spacer, so then they can fit inside of each other. The one on the MX-5 is 54.1mm, and the one on the spacer is exactly the same because it's designed for it. But you can get larger ones and just get hub center rings which fit it. And for this wheel, I'm going to time myself to how quick I can remove it and put a spacer on and put the wheel back on. From the beginning to the end, I'm going to do it as a speed run. The thread locker jammed. And I want you to see if you can install a spacer quicker than that.